Alright, so welcome back. I just showcased these. I say showcase, we mainly talked about what I'm trying to do and accomplish with them, which is sort of like consumable storage, specialty storage, that type of stuff, not like hand tool dedicated stuff. We got not one, but two of the US General 44-inch roll cabinets in blue. Might build a shelf over them, might put a wall behind it and have pegboard. I don't exactly know yet. If you've got suggestions or ideas or need more information, check out the previous video. But right now, we got to get under the Gantry Crane so I can show you the other big purchase from the Black Friday sale. Alright, so here it is. Not really. This is something we brought in not too terribly long ago. I had a couple things in mind when I brought this in. I wanted to test it out, get a feel for it. This had multiple possible outcomes, sort of like those 44-inch boxes did. My initial thoughts was, hey, I need somewhere to put locking pliers and clamps and consolidate them and sort of have like a welding cart. That's still a possibility. I currently have this as sort of like a catch-all for all kinds of things. There's a chance, based on what you see on that lower shelf, this could possibly become like a seriously dedicated detail cart. But what I'd always kind of had my eyes on, and what turned out to have a really big sale, is right there. And if I just pan back over here, well, there it is. It is the US General 34-inch full bank Master Tech cart. Went with the orange and black. If you didn't know, by me customizing that one, orange and black, again, one of my preferred combos. I think it looks a lot better than the shiny, like chrome, nickel, whatever plated stuff they have on there. Some people agree, some disagree. Bottom line, for me, that's a sweet looking cart. This was a deal where I felt like once I got to see this in store, not in color, just in black, they finally got like a demo in a couple months ago. It was $6.99. I'd seen it go on sale like for $50 and $100 off, and that's, after seeing it, I was like, $6.99 is really not a terrible price on this thing. I think a lot of people would agree with me, like when you're in store and you can like open the drawers and check out the space, all that type of stuff. But for Black Friday, they did $200 off. That was like the biggest, knockout promotion of anything that Harbor Freight was selling, in my opinion. And I cashed in. The truck is down. I'm waiting on something really stupid we'll cover eventually. Then some other specialty stuff, but I had to have this thing shipped. So it came Wednesday, the day with the 80-mile-an-hour wind, with the first of the blue boxes. It's still on the pallet, as you can see. I shimmied this. I had to shimmy it into the garage when I got home from work so no one would steal it. And then I had to shimmy it back out all the way to the truck, the central line that went out of business as this stuff was being delivered, which is terrible. And got it loaded up. Driver was super nice, helped me get it over here. And then if you're wondering why it looks like this thing is like propped at an angle, well, if you can parts of the driveway, again, if you didn't believe me that it's crushed rock, well, there's your proof. But that's not just plywood, that's one of the tiny, all my big dollies were populated. So I propped this side up on the dolly, the little furniture movie. I use that size for transmissions, if I'm being totally honest with you. And what I did back here then is I just lifted it, okay? Don't have to do anything too crazy, but I lifted it up and I ran it through that gap right there. So that's what we've done. This is where it's at, and we need to get it opened up because this, unlike those 44-inch US Generals that probably won't be getting any hand tools in them at all, that could change, this one will. I've got plans. This is going to be like my roll cart. This is going to be what that one could have been and more. So I'm thrilled to pick it up. Obviously, there's a lot of people who made videos on these at this point. There's people that have stocked them. You don't see the orange very often. I think there's a guy, stripped heads, rounded threads. I think he had probably the first video out on these. The main thing, you always, if you're able to get in the store and you see these and you kind of like, hey, I really dig that color, it looks great. YouTube videos are often not a great indicator of an actual color. I can't stress that enough. You wouldn't want to like pick to paint your project car based on what you see in someone's video. Similarly, you don't want to pick your exhaust based on what you hear in someone. There's so many factors that influence camera and mic position, walls, the resonance from the material. Like, is it in a metal building, a wood building, a storage building? Like, you need, if possible, to see something like this in person. You need to hear your exhaust in person, right? But when you can't do that, YouTube becomes a really great outlet, and it gives you a general idea of what to expect. So in terms of me getting this thing out, oh, well, the big US General 44 roll cabs, they had the casters installed. The second one came in with so much of the pallet dismantled and disintegrated, it had 2 casters on the ground completely to begin with. This one has casters in a drawer, so they are not attached. We're going to need to get this box off the pallet, which the box we should just be able to lift off, basically cut her open, which I've already done, and then we just start pulling out the styrofoam, and then the box will come off much easier. It's really tight in here, I'm not gonna lie. It's a mess. Again, that's how all this ties in. Like, I have plans. You just have to have faith and run with me on this stuff. You know, it looks like a total pigsty, and it kind of is at times, but I'm trying to make it better. We're going to make it better, and it has to do with shelves, racks, cabinets, toolboxes that I use as like basically a cabinet. So have faith, we'll eventually get there, but this thing will eventually be something I think everyone will enjoy when it's populated. So we're going to make that happen. Will it be US? Will it be Japanese? Will it be German? Will it be a combination of all three with some classically cheap junk? I don't know, but we're going to have fun making it whatever it turns out to be. So what I'm going to do before I just absolutely freeze to the point that I have to exit the shop, it's probably like high 30s in here now, I'm going to go ahead, start dismantling this guy, see what I've got to work with, and I don't know if I'm going to have straps long enough to reach around. This is a pretty good sized box. While we're staring at this, I should just show you. So you're going to be 34 1/4 wide. You're going to be 23 1/4 deep. For perspective, that's 1 1/4 inches deeper than the 44-inch roll cabinet we just took a look at. The 34 1/4, that's about, you know, you can just call it 10 inches less than the 44-inch roll cab. But then the big deal, 46.5 tall, and that's why I'm saying I don't know that I'm going to have straps that'll fit this. Why do I want straps? Well, I don't want to put chain around it and tear the paint up, right, or the powder coating. So that could be the point of contention, but I've got it positioned right here under the gantry crane because that will allow me to possibly take advantage of having that item and make my life significantly easier. So kind of when you're a one-man show, that gantry, it's pretty well paid for itself at this point. This is just icing on the cake. So I'm going to quit rambling. We're going to open this thing up. I'll kind of showcase it as it comes with the box off. But like I said, this is a pretty sweet setup. My price was $4.99. I don't remember if there was a US General coupon that stacked. I kind of wish places still did like the old school packing list where you had the item, part number, description, price, discount, freight charge, all that stuff on one ticket. It would make my life as somebody that, you know, documents this crud with video form on YouTube way easier. But I know $4.99 because it was $200 off. This is another item. Will these be $6.99 for a while? I don't know. They could easily jump up and be $7.99, $8.99, you know, by the time spring rolls around. There could be the $699 price point maintained, but they just might not have any stock. And it might be a deal you can sit and pay it and wait, you know, 2-3 months, and then it comes in and you're happy, and then your buddy sees it and he's like, cool, and he goes to buy one and they've gone up $150. I don't know. But at $4.99, I was like, this is the time to do it. That's a stupid good buy. Again, if you've never messed with one of these, not every store seems to have the demo unit. But I've been in one that did, and I was impressed by it. Black, so it wouldn't be my choice of colors. But if you can just speculate the color of your choice from the US General lineup, I feel like it's pretty well built, even at the $700 mark. Obviously, getting it for $500 is a way better deal. So, pulled the trigger, and yes, we lost $96 essentially in freight. But when I think of like, okay, if I have to bum a truck off somebody and then have to run to work or take off work to meet somebody, My time is valuable to me, so it's kind of like, well, I'd rather pick it up myself. Currently can't. I'm just going to pull the trigger. So even at 100 off, when you factor in the freight, I'm pretty happy with what we did there. So I'm going to get it opened up. We'll take a look at it, and we will go to town. All right, so letting the styrofoam fall where it may. This is what we've got. Also got my little tiny dolly out of there. So, man, that looks good. The orange and black. I'm still probably going to trick this thing out. Just totally max it out with all the accessories and everything. We'll do videos on that. But this is sort of like the cream of the crop. So, sadly, the side you would be interested in is here. That's like very difficult for me to get to. So that's what it looks like. The square window slots were on top of the box. So essentially just like that. That gives very nice corner protection. These runners here kind of mirrored where you see that black trim on the edges of the box. So very well packed. And again, to the credit of Central, this delivered pristine shape. If I didn't mention it in this video, I've got a crushed rock driveway. And there's going to be a ton of those things stuck up in that pallet as I had to shimmy it in. But we'll sweep that up. I'm going to see how this is going to dismantle, if I've got straps that will clear. And if we do, we'll hoist this sucker up. So stay tuned. All right, so my hands are like ice, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I would not recommend doing what I'm about to attempt. But I'm in space constraints in terms of tipping the thing back. And yeah, I'm getting really cold, and I kind of think it might work. So the good news is I can easily abort, but in a perfect world, I would have longer straps. I thought of getting ratchet straps out of the truck, which I think would clear around it, but I wasn't sure about lifting from them. And I thought, well, you know, maybe if initially I took one of these straps, there's two of them. I took one of them and I lifted up on this side, threw it under, and then I was coming in with the other one and I was going to attach at both ends and lift from a, central point. Couldn't do that, they were too short, so somewhere underneath this box, I have a connection point like this, but they're wrapped around each other. And in this one, I have that fully secured inside, the safety hook. So what I'm going to do, and these are rated way heavier. I mean, I've picked up a ton of stuff now. The weight of the box is not an issue for this. It's just going to be how centered do I have this and how well does this balance. I'm also realizing another issue, which will be I kind of need the casters out of the box. I don't want to they're slack right now, right? As soon as I start going up, that's going to disappear. I may have to wedge my hand in there, try to unlock the box. See, I don't know if the lid has to be up or down. I'm assuming up. There's probably a release inside since it's a service cart. But one of these drawers, I don't even know the drawer, should have casters in it. We're going to need those out. But the main thing we can accomplish like this regardless is getting it off of the pallet. And truth be told, when you're working solo, that's a huge deal because even though the pallet isn't much and it's real dinky, that creates extra, the taller it is, the farther back we're going to fall. So limited space constraints working solo, getting it on the ground would be a big deal. I could even then get it up on blocks of wood or a cinder block or two, man, then you'd be working on your hands and knees, but you get the casters on that way. So the pallet is a deal. So I'll play around with this. I very well may just lift it off now and then try to get the casters if it seems like a problem. But this is what I'm doing. It's what I have to work with. And it's, like I said, nothing I have to do, but I'm going to try it. And the good news is I can back down. If it's going to break, it's going to break or be an issue before it gets high up. We can easily correct that. So it's not necessarily, it is fairly heavy, but it's mainly just, it's such a big item. It's difficult to get your arms around it and control it simultaneously. So I'm going to probably get gloves on to try and maintain heat in my extremities. And we'll see how this thing goes. So hopefully you hear back from me. If not, something went terribly wrong. I gotta tell you, this thing is awesome. I'm really impressed with it. I think seeing it in a bright color and not black lets you appreciate it even more. I didn't take a real long detailed look when I saw the black one in the store, but man, is that deep. Like, really, really deep. Super nice there. Everything's looking good. There was way back there. If we zoom in, you see that's unlock and lock. It, of course, was the bottom drawer. So what I had to do is sort of shoulder it. I had to just kind of run into it with my shoulder, tilt it back enough for the bottom drawer to clear the styrofoam piece, which I do want to keep on there for lifting purposes. And we've got the push bar instructions, and the box underneath that is the casters. So what I'm going to do now is flip this switch back, and we're going to shut this. Got everything in place. I can slide this plastic back down, which I'll do that. That'll be kind of cumbersome, but I'll do that just to protect it while we're lifting. And then I'm going to lift it up. If it seems to be balanced well, we could seriously put the casters on it right now. If not, we'll set it down, and then I'm getting so cold, we'll probably deal with this like a warm day. Like, my fingers don't move good, and my foot is cold now, like not just the toes, like the foot. I've got my Casey Tool beanie on. I guess I need to make like socks or something. But yeah, I'm gonna see how this goes. But man, again, I honestly think, I don't know what their logic was in using like the black. Maybe they think that's like the safest color to showcase. Maybe eventually they'll get the full lineup in, but that is deep. That is really, really deep, and the drawers are all great sizes too. So this thing is awesome, and I can't wait to get it out and fully appreciate it. But if you're on the fence with them and you ever have the opportunity again to get it $200 off, don't hesitate. It's impressive even as it sits here. So I'm gonna shut up, get this thing kind of packed back up a little bit, and then see if we can't lift it up. If it maintains its position, I'll try to find something to sort of support it with, just to be extra safe so I don't like crush myself. You know, because that's when it happens, when your fingertips are like losing feeling. That's when bad things always happen. So I'm aware of that. I want to be safe, but let's see if we can get this thing up in the air. All right, battery light's flashing, but she's floating. The pallet is over here with pieces of the driveway all the way across. And casters, super cool that they're in black. They're really nice. Again, all 4 swivel, all 4 lock. They're greasable. The hardware is even black as well. It's, as you can see, can't tell, but it's 8.8 right there. I went ahead and measured. It looks like it's an M8 by 30 millimeter. Therefore, we need 13 millimeter tools. And I'm going to see what we're looking like down there and try to snap these things on. It's not ideally positioned, but I'm going to be leery of that, be out to the side, and see if we can't get done. All right, trying this before the battery dies. The casters are on. One small issue. That's right there. Stavilla 13 millimeter socket is stuck. Let's see if we can... Perfect. Didn't mar it up. Battery light's still flashing. I'm going to try to lower this thing so we can take a look at it. Well, there she is. I gotta say, I love this thing. Only issue I had, I put one of the casters on backwards. It's one of those deals. It's rectangular, but by like 1/2 inch or something. And when you're working sideways on your back, I brought the creeper in finally. I gave up trying to do it on my knees. But once I figured that out, everything went smooth. I got the socket stuck. Wound up switching to 3H drive, little Craftsman 13 millimeter deep well, paired with a Stavilla ratchet. I know some of you are probably concerned about the well-being of our good friend, the Christmas special socket, 13 millimeter from last year. Survived just fine. That was a plastic cap on the end of a Gador hammer, pretty much Picard across the board. Makes them for tons of companies. I don't think they make those caps anymore. I love them. I've used the snot out of that one. Here she is on the ground. Again, I've got the battery light flashing, but let's quickly, I want to pay homage to the black cylinder lock there, so that's cool. Lifting this up, this will be the first time we've had full extension. The black US General, some people hate that. I happen to like it. Looks fine to me. There's our lock and unlock. The sheer depth of this thing is insane. Like, my hand has been swallowed. You know, not by much, but it's about at my wrist. And that's deeper than any other card I've used. Coming over here, you've got your bigger slots at the back. It's kind of an ascending fashion, getting smaller towards the front. I might have preferred having the smaller ones at the back, just because, you know, there's going to be more clearance up here, if you will, or maybe small on each side and huge in the middle. Just mainly trying to avoid folds in the sheet metal. Same thing on the other side. It is absolutely mirrored. This is a passport. If you want to make this a you know, power strip or something, it should mount up decently. We probably are going to do that, but that's a pretty fancy little grommet. It's not just an open hole. Again, right here you've got the lock and the unlock for your drawers. Coming in, you'll see the top one that says pull left, latch left to open drawer. So when we do that, that'll let us open the drawer. They are all a really, really nice depth. That might be wasted space for some people, you know, like if you're just planning on having wrenches, but for me and what I have planned, it should be fine. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawers, look to be the same length. The 6th one, we're a little deeper. I'll try to get technical specs on all this for you later, but right now I'm dealing with the flash and battery light. I just kind of want to highlight this thing. For a quick comparison, we'll probably do something more in-depth later. That is the 4 drawer, not the 5 drawer, but the 4 drawer back there behind it. I realize also now I need to get the handle on. I forgot to do that. It's back over here behind all the crushed rocks that came in on that pallet. You can see it down there. But yeah, this little setup here, this was also from Harbor Freight. It barely fit. You would ideally want a one-piece deal, not have to splice 2 together. If I step over here without falling, it's more difficult than it seems. There we've got the backside view. Again, everything on this one was mint. Super happy about it. If you plan to leave it open and populate the back, you got a lot of real estate there. So that's pretty cool. Right here we've got the nice bumper pads all the way top to bottom, all 4 corners too. Again, black casters, which I think is a nice touch. Black hardware. You get 1 extra bolt where we screwed up. Again, that was 8mm, about M8 by 30, so you need 13mm, you know, wrench or whatever you want to use. Look at that depth though, man. That is crazy. I'll get the handle on. I'll see if this battery's still going, and we'll take it from there. All right, so there is our handle, and you can mount it on either side. What they include, oops, it's a little screw. That is a T40, which is not hex. Well, that doesn't really show up well, but it's T40, roughly 25mm in length. They included this, which is pretty nice. Again, a lot of people may not have a T40 sitting around in any way, shape, or form. Depends what you do. I went ahead, I upgraded. We've got the Vera T40, which I've never gotten to use that size. Got the VHOT bit, and I got my Witte driver. So we'll see which one of those fits best. I'll get the handle on and let you know what I used. I'm thinking we'll probably have to go with the short L key end, but we'll see if we can snake that in, make it a little quicker. But let's get the handle on and call it good. Man, I love those drivers. The bottom ones are going to be totally accessible. Don't do what I did and grab your spare caster bolt, because it'll thread right in too. Got that a little later. But we can hit those with the driver, and I'll then see. I don't think we're going to be able to get the top ones, but I'll give it a go. All right, I tried my little T40 VHOT socket here for the top ones. Wasn't happening. Way too much depth there with that socket adapter. Grabbed the bit, figured I'd just use the bit ratchet, and then I thought to myself, hey, what did we just unbox recently? And the answer is the Hazet Advent Calendar, and it was a smart case with a bit ratchet, and I thought, was there a T40 in there? Kind of think there was. I always get cranky that they don't go to T50, and it seemed like there was a T40. And if you note, the bit ratchet's not in there because the bit ratchet is right here. That's right. Beautiful fit and finish there. I will say, with the gloves on, I use the twin grips to actually pull the T40. So that's still my complaint with that. It's just too small of a profile form factor for me. That said, I'm going to tighten this thing up, and then we'll kind of see how the handle works. All right, so already getting our money's worth out of the Advent Calendar. A little T40 bit and ratchet cleared everything beautifully. Got to put a little extra down here below, and I got to tell you, the handle is solid and the handle is functional. I've got so much stuff in the floor right now. There's not a whole lot I can do. We're brushing up against chains, and there's still rocks in the floor. I see them now. But yeah, this is my first impression of this US General 34-inch, what do they call it, Master Tech service car. The thing is sweet. It is big. It's very big. We'll try to get some comparisons. I'm sitting here looking at my big Husky box, the 56-inch, and it's taller than it, I believe. Kind of shadows that guy. All the drawers are good depth. Again, that could be positive, could be negative, depending on what you're doing. You'll never really complain about not having the space, but then you might complain about, hey, I wish this was a little more efficient. So for me, I've got zero complaints so far. I can't wait to get it hooked up, maybe outfit a little bit better. Gonna start probably doing that immediately. But for now, this is just sort of my quick, like, dang, this is pretty cool. I sadly looked at it's 11:11 p.m. and it's 23 degrees. I don't think that's gonna focus, but I sadly saw that when a text came in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm cold, aren't I? So this kind of warmed me up a little bit, kind of the volcano hemi-orange, whatever you want to call it. But dig the color scheme, dig the black aesthetic, appreciate the casters. Again, all 4 swivel, all 4 greasable, all 4 brakes. Handle can go on either side. I've got it on that one. It just made sense to me. I've never had anything with a fancy latch system. That'll kind of take some getting used to. The lock, I appreciate it being blacked out as well. If you're going to black something out, black it all out or it looks weird. They did a really good job, in my opinion, on the design on this thing. I guess what we'll do in the future is sort of start populating this. I've already got some of the tools I plan to put in here, and it should be good. It would be nice if we had somewhere to park it aside from here in the middle of the shop, but for now, I'm very content. I'm going to get everything. I've already chopped up the styrofoam. I've cut some of the box down. Pro tip, this bag, anytime you get a toolbox and you've got a big bag, keep it. Transmissions, engines, small engines in their entirety, motorcycle engines, it makes a great dust cover, whether you're transporting or storing them, and it's free that way. Not that they're super expensive, but it's free, and that's better than any expense, right? So I'm going to hang on to that, fold them up, find somewhere to put them. I'll deal with those straps some other day. But, I'll just get this stuff put away, and I guess next time we'll start populating this thing, see what we can do. So I'm going to measure this real quick, and if I have battery life, I'll give you that information. All right, going as fast as I can. I can't believe the battery's functioning this cold. 6.5 deep is your bottom drawer. 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. So you've got 5 3.5-inch deep drawers, 6.5 on the bottom. The top, I didn't bother to measure that. It is a landmine deep. I've cleaned it up. Let's just set you here, if at all possible, while I attempt to measure. So from the black mat to where we could conceivably store things, I'm going to call it about 6.5. You might have a little more leeway with the lid. Overall height on this thing, with the lid open, you're going to be at about 46.25. Lid shut, let's just call it 46.5. Again, really, really good size. If this is your starter box, like if you're just an entry-level person or you're just, have basic stuff at work, this is awesome, minus like some large specialty items, power tools. I'm talking, like circular saw type stuff. Everything else, hand tool wise, you should be home free here. Yes, you might prefer like 2 thinner drawers for wrenches or something, but in my opinion, I'd rather have the wasted space height wise outside of just completely designing and building my own toolbox. So $4.99, this thing was an absolute steal, even with the shipping. Again, it arrived in great shape. I love the color scheme. So far, no complaints. If I had to complain, it would have been the holes here. I might have tweaked them, had the smaller stuff in the back where there's the most clutter, or just had small on both sides, big in the middle. The mats, the bottom one, it does have like some impressions from where the casters and handle was. Not a big deal. It's going to happen anyway. So realistically, this thing is sweet, and I cannot wait to populate it. So like I said, that's kind of what we'll do, is we'll just start populating this thing, building sort of a service box. I've got some shifting philosophies and ideas here going on in terms of what's running through my head. Don't really have time for that. Again, I'm freezing. I can't believe the battery hasn't died yet, but we got this thing off the pallet, out of the box, floating in the air thanks to the Gantry Crane. The sweet casters are on it. The handle is on it. Everything's home free. So mess over here that I have left. Somehow, I think this little tray, which if you slide this off yourself to flip it, I would advise sliding it off before turning it over if you go that route. Probably just cut the tape on one side. That should flap down. Styrofoam may rub, but this is like adhesively glued or something to this fantastic pallet. I mean, it gets the job done, I'll give it that, but that's about all. So I'll chop that thing up, get rid of it. I can't really do much with something like that. The box, I'll probably cut out the specs. It's kind of cool to keep that stuff at least for a little while, and then I'll just chop it down, maybe paint on it, something like that. But the styrofoam, I broke all that stuff up. It's back there in the sack. I got all the other trash, minus these 2 boxes and some bags and whatnot. But I got nothing bad to say right now. I'm thrilled. If you were able to pick this up for $4.99 locally and not have the freight fee, it's even better. If these ever go on sale at $4.99, buy it. You're not going to be disappointed. Do plan accordingly for the height. Like, this might not be something, if you shut the lid, that you want to work on. It's a bit tall, you know, right about this height, or the height of the 4 and the 5 drawer. Probably preferred. Some people, if you're super tall, this would be a great height. I could actually do it. I just might prefer slightly lower, you know. But that's only if you're working on the top. Only thing I would really change is if they had a split top design on this, and I could leave current on the top and slide it over. But at the price point that we got it for, the quality of the construction, the drawers that I played around with, I haven't even had trouble with the latches. I love it, and super, super happy. My only real regret is that my sister was fighting me about not getting my nephew one, because I would have loved to have done it for $200 less. My other complaint, and this is nothing about the box, I kind of wanted to grab one of these for work, and I was either going to do blue or green. I wasn't 100% sure yet. I kind of wish I would have done that. I wanted to sort of get it in, get a feel for it myself, and based on the initial impressions, I regret not bringing a second one in. But if we ever hit that price point again, especially when the truck here is running after stupid parts show up, we'll pick up one, and I'll have one of these at work too. So $500 is a steal. $6.99, I personally think it's worth that. However, I would advise waiting for either a US General coupon or some sort of like a 2-week promotion, whether currently they're $50 off right now. They just started a new 2-week deal. 50 is nice, but 200 off is better. I don't know that you'll ever see that outside of like Black Friday or something. If you can wait on this, do it. If you got to have it, decide if it's worth it. I think the 700 is a fair price. But again, the Harbor Freight model you're all accustomed to, you got to feel like it's on sale, and you get a big coupon to really feel like you got your money's worth. So every once in a while they do the US General discounts inside Track Club. It might be worth $29 out of a year if you can get a big discount on this. So my advice is just watch it. If you go to a store and they don't have a sample, you've got another store nearby, or you're traveling and you see a Harbor Freight, stop, check it out in person. Some of you might think this is terrible, inferior quality. I guess I'm easily impressed, but I genuinely believe this is a pretty solid box. So comparing it with the little 44, the limited time I've messed with either of these, kind of saying I prefer this, but we'll do something with the 44s. And if you want thin drawers, that's where you get them, in the 44-inch. It's 3.5, 6.5 on the bottom drawer. Like I said, I'm very, very happy with it. So it went together very well, especially having the Gantry Crane. I didn't have to tip it over, throw tires behind it, hope the box is enough to insulate it from getting scratched. Couldn't have gone better, aside from it being warmer. So with that said, thanks so much for watching. If you've got one of these, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think it's a great value at $700? Would you like to see it at $500 and say it would sell all day? Which I agree with that. But I genuinely do believe you could justify the $700 price tag. If you're patient, you can catch a sale or a coupon or both if they're able to stack and get it for a little bit less at least. And that would be my advice. Check it out in store. If a buddy has one, check it out in person, see their thoughts, and then go to town. So like I said, I'm thrilled with it at this point in time. We'll populate it. We'll have some fun. We'll see how we fill it out. And we'll take it from there. So once again, thanks for watching. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. We've got automotive content, typically Wednesday, sometimes tool stuff every Saturday, though. And if you hit the bell, YouTube just might notify you about our new videos. But with that said, jump your Charger across the creek and ring the bell. Should definitely do the trick. So we'll get this thing populated in future videos. Let me know if you got any ideas, any cool orange color themed stuff you think we should go for. I got some things in mind, got my mind racing, and that is a good thing. So once more, thanks for watching. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.